On Osrc News at 7, Ayedatiwa orders pay tribute to late SSG Oluwatuyi as burial programs commence. Reactions trails political landscape restructuring as Rep proposes additional state creation. NAFDAC advocates death penalty for fake drug dealers. And from the foreign scene, millions risk layoffs amid resignation deadline for U.S. federal workers. Thank you very much for joining us tonight on the news at 7. I am Oyumi Ayinibara. The Ondo State Governor, Lucky Ayedatiwa, has described the late Secretary to the state government, Temitayo Oluwatuyi, as a committed politician who is always ready for the development of the state and the country at large. At the night of tribute in his honor in Akure, the state governor, Lucky Ayedatiwa, said the late Oluwatuyi, popularly called Tukana, would be greatly missed. Government House correspondent Zimo Ebiemi provides further detail as the reports presented from our studios.
Nigerians in their numbers gathered here in Akure City Hall for a night of tributes for the man who came, who saw, and who conquered, the late Secretary to the Ondo State Government, Temitayo Oluwatuyi. Though a night affair, yet thousands of party leaders, sons and daughters of Akure gathered to eulogize the grassroots politician. One after the other, they spoke glowingly of the late secretary to the state government.
The late SSG was a wonderful man. He was a quiet man. He was a very quintessential leader.
Tayo was more than just a colleague or a classmate to us. He was a beacon of light in our lives.
While he was the president, we almost abandoned our constitution because of his good deeds. And at a point, he said, "Hey, Yomi, what is happening? Did you want to make me like president of the club?"
I will so much cherish it. I in particular could remember year 2000 when I was transferred from Ibadan to Akure. He gave me the whole house to stay.
And educate us to the best of his ability. And it is hard to accept that we would no longer receive his birthday messages. We always look forward to that because we said.
And we have had it this night. So many people have spoken. With family, friends, associates at work. And one thing that is common in all that everybody has said, I summarize it this way. Our brother is a good man.
Governor Ayedatiwa appreciated the people for giving their last respect to the late secretary to the state government.
Honorable Temitayo Oluwatuyi's passing leaves a gaping void, a chasm that can never be fully filled. The only way to understand the meaning of life truly is to confront the possibility of death. Indeed, to die is to return to one's real home.
After the night of tributes, there was candlelight procession where youths marched through major streets in Akure to honor the deceased.
The proposed creation of 31 additional states besides the country's 36 existing states has sparked reactions in Akure, the Ondo State capital. In this report, Abidemi Akinrutoyu reports that if it scales through, the move will alter Nigeria's political and administrative landscape, increasing the total number of states from 36 to 67.
The 31 state creation proposal was submitted as private member bills to the House of Representatives through the House Committee on Constitution Review. The proposal has an additional 6 new states in the North Central, 4 in the Northeast, 5 in the northwest, 5 in the south-south, and 7 in the southwest. For instance, in the southwest, there is Torombe from Ondo, Ibadan from Oyo, Lagun from Lagos, Lagun State from Ogun, Ijebu from Ogun, and Oke-Ogun, Ife-Ijesha from Oyo, Ogun, and Osun State. The proposal has sparked reactions from Nigerians as residents of Akure expressed concern about the potential implications of creating new states. They are of the opinion that the creation of more states would increase administrative costs and potential conflict over resources.
The issue of creation of more states in the country, to me, somehow it's unnecessary. But if you look at it politically, yeah, you will say, okay, it's a way of trying to balance the lopsidedness in the creation of states in the past. Like, those in the south will say, oh, they didn't have up to what the entire north has as well.
Representation and access to resources.
What we need now is not creation of state, it's creation of local government, more local government, or we remove the number of local government from the constitution. Because the government should be closer to the people at the grassroots, not at the state level. Now, people don't see the governor as, but they will see their local government chairman. So if you have more local government chairman, people will see where to go.
The time was when Nigeria had 19 states, and we could feel that development and standard of living around that time was even better than what we have now, as we have 36 states. So it's not proliferation of states that is going to solve the national questions that we have in Nigeria. There are a lot of unemployment issue, inflation, lack of essential amenities, agriculture is in comatose, terrorism here and there, insecurity. The structures that we have should be able to take care of all these challenges that we have if there is political will on the part of the ruling class.
I think we need more states because there are some states that are very large that need to be created. You see, for example, now in those states need to be bifurcated into two at least, so that to be able to, for good governance. Creation of state is for good governance. And if it is done, then there will be grassroots, grassroots development. Let me say, it must be done to really help the people, to develop the people, and not just creating because you want your state to be created or because of those that are behind it. No, let it be done naturally. That some states are big, let them be bifurcated, let them be created.
The proposal is expected to continue to generate heated debates in both legislative and public discourse as it progresses through the constitutional amendment process. Abidemi Akinrotoye, Osrc News.
The Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, has debunked media reports suggesting that the federal government has scrapped the junior secondary school JSS and senior secondary school SSS and replaced them with a new 12-year uninterrupted basic education model. Alausa stated emphatically that the reports were not true, explaining that he only submitted a proposal seeking to migrate to 12 years of compulsory education while retaining the current 6-3-3-4 structure. The minister, during the 2025 Extraordinary National Council of Education meeting held in Abuja, earlier proposed a 12-year basic education model in Nigeria. He said it was prudent to transition from the 6-3-3-4 to the 12-4 system of education. The minister, while addressing journalists, debunked the report, saying he merely presented a proposal for discussion, not an immediate policy change. According to him, the proposal seeks to migrate to 12 years of compulsory education while retaining the current 6-3-3-4 structure. President Bola Tinubu has urged African leaders, including sub-nationals, to quit depending on foreign plans. The continent dearly needs leaders who wield policy as a surgical blade instead of a slogan. Tinubu lamented a situation where African leaders confine themselves to foreign blueprints while refusing to emancipate themselves from client state mentalities. President Tinubu, represented by the Vice President Kashim Shettima at the Dr. Kayode Fayemi Commemorative Symposium and launch of the Amandla Institute for Policy and Leadership Advancement, said the world is not waiting for Africa to catch up. Tinubu argued that it would be wishful thinking to hope that the relate in tech ops across the continent. The First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has canvassed both global and local support and partnership to end female genital mutilation (FGM) in Nigeria. Tinubu declared female genital mutilation as a human rights violation without any health benefit, promising that the administration of President Bola Tinubu would end the menace. In a statement commemorating this year's International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation, the First Lady quoted the UNFPA as saying Nigeria has the highest absolute number of FGM globally. She said over 20 million women and girls had undergone FGM, while about 14 million girls were still at risk of also experiencing this practice by 2030. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, has again called for the establishment of an electoral offences tribunal, stressing the need for a dedicated judicial body to handle cases of electoral malpractices. Speaking at the first regular quarterly consultative meeting with the media in Abuja, Yakubu highlighted the challenges facing the prosecution of electoral offenders, noting that delays in the judicial system often result in cases lingering for years. He cited the recent conviction of a returning officer of Akwa Ibom State, which took nearly 6 years to conclude, as an example of the slow pace of justice. The INEC chairman explained that under the current system, electoral offences are prosecuted in magistrate and state high court. Watching Osrc News at 7 after the break. NAFDAC advocates death penalty for fake drug dealers. Please, the rejoiners. Thank you very much for rejoining us. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook at Osrc TV. And on YouTube, you can subscribe to our channel Osrc TV Ondo. No fewer than 50 farmers are set to benefit from Adiyero's short cycle broiler production initiative in Ondo State. The Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Agric and Agribusiness, Rotimi Wemimo, at a training in Akure, said the initiative is to increase production of chicken. Our correspondent Abidemi Akenrutoyi reports poultry farmers would also get feeds.
This is the gathering of farmers, the Poultry Association of Nigeria, and officials from the Ministry of Livestock Development, newly established by the federal government as testament to government's commitment to promoting agriculture and improving the livelihood of farmers in Akure, the state capital. The idea is to help farmers navigate the challenges of poultry production and tap into the new markets and opportunities, thus contributing to food security and economic growth. State Chairman of Poultry Association of Nigeria, Fadipe Olawale, and the Southwest Chairman of PAN, Gideon Oluleye, said the initiative would be a boost to livestock subsector of the economy.
In a few weeks' time, we are going to see a result that will produce about 50 millionaires farmers. What we are doing today is training. They will give them inputs, DOC, feeds, and drugs. After a few weeks, in 5 weeks' time, they become our offtake, and the money for the input will be deducted, and the rest is going to be their profit, which is going to millions of nairas.
We just feel that we need to refresh them with training again in the production of this short cycle broiler. You know, all of us eat chicken, and this chicken, 5 weeks is enough. At most 6 weeks, they would have become they would have been mature to eat. And then
Special Assistant to the Governor on Agric and Agriculture, Rotimi Wemimo, unveiled plans to boost agricultural development in the state.
The more we get our farmers in tune and know where our farmers are, the more we'll be able to actually give assistance and help. So there are a lot of data capturing going on right now. I expect the farmers to them enroll into the data capturing, so we have the data. So, but we are also planning the senatorial farms, which we're doing, for us to be able to have and control food supplies in the state.
Beneficiaries expressed gratitude for the training, saying it would go a long way in boosting their businesses.
This is what I have been practicing, but what I learned today, which I'm going to put into use in the forthcoming broilers production. In fact, I know the result will be amazing.
In fact, it's a great privilege to be here, and I believe with a couple of days, I believe I will become, a great person even in this nation.
Distribution of feeds to the farmers is scheduled to commence on the first week of March and expected to last for 6 weeks. The initiative of the Ondo State Agricultural Extension Centers, Osrc, is to promote agricultural development in especially Ondo State. Abidemi Akinrotoye, Osrc News.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control has proposed a death penalty for drug peddlers. The Director General of the agency, Mojisola Adeyeye, during television interview, argued that only strict penalties will deter drug peddlers, especially when their actions result in the death of children. The NAFDA boss also called for the cooperation of the judiciary and the National Assembly to make the proposal a reality. According to her, the agency is open to working with lawmakers and other stakeholders to make the penalties much stiffer. And now to the foreign scene. Millions of U.S. federal workers are facing a critical deadline. 2.2 million employees must choose between resigning with 8 months of pay or staying and risking layoffs. The move, part of President Donald Trump's effort to cut government spending, has sparked debates. Kemisola Ojomu tells us more.
Just after taking office, U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order eliminating remote work as well as what he called thousands of unnecessary federal workers.
We're getting rid of all of the cancer. I call it cancer, the cancer caused by the Biden administration.
Trump wants to eliminate jobs from every part of the government, from park rangers and the CIA to transportation and business planners, to scientists and social services workers, to close agencies focused on education, healthcare, and workplace safety, and to turn many non-partisan positions into jobs for his supporters. But what the U.S. 2.2 million civil servants did not expect was a so-called buyout plan from the Office of Personnel Management on the fork in the road. You can stay home and get paid for 8 months, but you must quit your federal job. At the end, employees and their unions are furious.
We don't think it's on any kind of sound legal footing in particular.
This was a tactic to scare federal employees and to try to force them to make decisions that are not only bad for them, but bad for the American people.
Administration officials say more than 20,000 civil servants have already agreed to quit, but public policy experts say that is not enough to save the government more than $100 billion a year in salaries and benefits. They also say a 1994 law caps buyout at $25,000, less than half of what will be owed to average worker, taking the Trump deal. And politicians, especially those representing thousands of federal workers, say the president has a reputation for not following through on his word.
Don't be fooled. He's tricked hundreds of people with that offer. If you accept that offer and resign, he'll stiff you just like he stiffed the contractors.
Workers' group have already gone to court to try to stop Trump's efforts to remake the civil service, and their warning ordinary Americans will suffer if the president succeeds in his quest. Kemisola Ojomu, Osrc News.
Meanwhile, more than 100 Indian migrants deported from the U.S. say they were mistreated. The reports being handcuffed throughout the currently 40-hour flight on a military aircraft. The mass deportation is part of President Donald Trump's broader crackdown in illegal immigration. Is raising concerns over human rights violations. Now the reports.
Almost 2 days on a military plane in shackles on board 104 Indians deported from the US for crossing illegally. US Border Patrol released this video showing the deportation. The passengers described the conditions of their forced return as harrowing.
Our hands and feet were cuffed. They told us we're being taken to a detention center, but they brought us to the airport instead and made us sit in a plane. And then they said they're taking us back to India. It took us 40 hours to reach Amritsar airport. We were unshackled after we landed.
We were given no facilities of washrooms, and they never removed the cuffs, even to eat.
Among the passengers, 25 women also handcuffed the families emotional.
My daughter has come back safely. We found out from the media that they're coming back.
Many were worried about the money the lost families pay people small